Welcome to the Boomers, Bucks, and Bling podcast, where we turn retirement planning into a bit of a thrill ride. I'm your host, Carl Spiteri, and each week we'll dive into everything from reverse mortgages and staying put in style to Medicare, Social Security, and home safety. But wait, there's more. We're not just going to talk all about money and business. We're going to add some sparkle, some bling, as we chat with travel pros, party planners, and a lot of different topics that's going to help you make the most of your golden years. So grab a cup of tea or whatever it is you want to drink, get comfy, and let's make retirement planning an adventure of a lifetime. Hello, welcome to this edition of Boomers, Bucks, and Bling. Today we have the privilege of having Johanna Gach with us, and she works with Griswold Home Care in La Jolla, California. And we're going to talk about in-home healthcare. So Johanna, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, what makes you an expert to talk about this stuff.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. So what I do is home care, and there's a couple different categories. Home care is when you have help with, bathing, light duties that have to do with transferring and meals and laundry and companionship and driving, but it's not medical based. So it's when somebody just needs more help.
And that's called home care.
Correct.
Okay.
And then there's another group that's called home health. And they actually can come in and dispense medication and do some of the things that regular home care can't do.
Okay.
The typical need here in San Diego is for home care, where we have a tremendously strong boomer demographic here in San Diego that are still very independent, using email and their cell phones. And so what they really need help with is getting meals done and getting the laundry done and getting to doctor's appointments. And this population really wants to age in place. It's important to them that they stay as independent as possible, and able to stay home where they're comfortable.
Yeah. So let's think about it for a minute. So I would imagine your first contact, is it the baby boomer, or is it the Gen Xer that's saying, hey, I got parents that have a challenge? Who would be like your first, usually is your first contact?
So I'd say it's like 75-25.
Okay.
So 75%, it's the client for themselves.
Okay.
A lot of times they'll be in their 90s. And
all right.
They've gotten to the point where, they need help getting to the doctor.
And, yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Okay. So home care would also include transportation to and from doctor's appointments, grocery stores, churches, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. We're doing that actually on Wednesday. One of our caregivers is taking somebody to church to Bible study, and she's so excited because she hasn't been able to go in so long. And it's about bringing back independence into their lives for them.
Okay. So let's talk about, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So there's another part of that. And the other 25%, when I talk about when I'm dealing with the children of the client, is typically because the parent needs more help than they're already getting.
Okay.
So the kids come into town and they see that their mom needs or dad needs more help than they thought. And sometimes it's even when these people are already in a community, in a independent living community or an assisted living community, but their parent needs more than can be provided in that big of a setting. So sometimes
so you could be in. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly right. We bring our caregivers in for a couple hours a week on top of what they're getting through their community.
So no matter where they're living, whether they're aging in place or aging in a facility, you can still provide your services to this individual if the facility is not meeting their needs or expectation.
Absolutely. A lot of these communities, they'll have like Walmart on Tuesdays and, going to doctor's appointments excuse me, you have to book a couple days ahead of time to get the bus to be able to take you.
Hmm.
So to be able to have the independence of a caregiver being like, you know, take me to the store, or I got this doctor's appointment on this day and it just came up. So it gives them just a little extra help.
All right. So if I wanted to hire you,
Yeah.
would it be a full-time position, part-time? I mean, how do you get paid?
So I get paid by
And how does
having,
your facility, your
yeah.
organization, not you
So we
specifically?
bill hourly, and we're a really boutique firm, right, agency right now. We handpick our caregivers are in the top 10% of all the applicants, and they're bonded and insured and all of those really important things. That's why they can do the transportation. That's why you can feel safe about your jewelry in your home if you're bringing somebody into your home.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, so we can do it anywhere, and as many hours as you need. So sometimes it's just once a week for 4 hours, or another client has 12 hours total spread over the week, or so sometimes we
So you
do
just
overnights because sometimes people need 12 hours just to make sure that
okay.
that they don't fall when they go to the bathroom at night, or so it's really need based.
Okay, so basically we hire your company and I can use you as I need you. There's no real contract to sign or anything. There's like you're a client and all of a sudden you have a need for 10 extra hours this week or next week. You take it and then you don't have that need anymore. You can let it go. That kind of
Right.
thing.
So there is a contract. We do we weekly. We have the amount taken ACH out of their account weekly. But everything's agreed upon. So if you need extra hours that week, great, give me a call. You'll get me, and I'll make sure that you get those extra
Okay.
hours on the books. If you don't need something, maybe your kids are coming to town and you're not going to need as much help
Hmm.
that week, then you just tell me you need less. So nothing set in stone, but there is a contract for a basic 10 hours a week, or what they think they're going to need on a regular basis.
And is it going to be the same person all the time, or do I get
We try.
whoever
We
luck of the
really
draw?
try.
Okay.
um I pride myself on matching my caregivers with my clients, and really knowing the needs of my clients, and then understanding what skills my caregivers have that best meet that.
Hmm.
And then so that I feel really good about that, and
Hmm.
the ability to, we always seem to get more hours that way because the client's happy.
Sure. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's making people happy. I mean, we were taught that from whenever we first started in the workforce, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody needed to come in and do housework, is that an availability?
So not like any kind of deep cleaning. We do
Okay.
some light housekeeping. So if the caregiver makes lunch, she'll do all the lunch dishes.
Hmm.
She'll do the laundry and the bedding for the client, but maybe not. But we won't do it for the client's husband and child, right? So
Got
if
it.
there's a
Yeah.
sink full of dishes, that were already left there by the rest of the family, it's not the caregiver's responsibility to wash all of those. So it's
Okay.
considered light housekeeping.
All right. All right. Okay. So I'm in the mortgage business and we're an advocate for reverse mortgages. I think a lot of people
Absolutely.
should have them in especially on the coastal, on both coasts, where housing is so expensive, but pretty much everywhere. And one of the functions of our HECM loan is that we have a line of credit that allows you to draw as you need it, and you don't pay for the money until after you vacate the home,
Right.
but you also don't pay for the money until you take the money out of the loan. So,
That's
so I think it's a very valuable tool. But speaking of that, how do you get paid? What are typical fees and things involved? Because this sounds like it could get rather costly.
Well, so that is a big issue. And that is one of the deciding factors for a lot of families, whether they are able to let their loved one age in place, or if they need to move them to a community where more things are taken care of at a one stop price.
Hmm.
Um, typically, we are very competitive, in the market. It's anywhere between $40 to $60 an hour, depending on the need of the client.
Okay. All right. So between $40 and $60 an hour, you get
Correct.
because I would imagine you could go out and hire somebody that you don't
Yeah.
know off the street. That would probably
Right.
be a little less, right? So what do
Right.
you bring to the table for $40 to $60 an hour as Griswold, right? So you're
Right.
offering something. You're competitive, you said. So that must mean there's another company, at least one
At least
that
one.
that does the same thing you guys are doing. So
Right.
what do they get for this $40 to $60 an hour? Or what should they
So
be? Better than that, what should they be looking for when they're hiring a service like yours or a caregiver?
So the number one most important thing is that the company is insured and bonded. That way that who's coming into your house has had a background check. They've got a TB screen. They have been trained, uh, properly trained in lifting and transferring and all of those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a higher level of excellence, um, that we really work towards, and that's why we choose to do it this way instead of under the table.
Mm-hmm. All right. What else do they get?
They get personal service.
Okay.
So they will always get me on the phone, or Wadud, who is the founder and owner of Griswold, um Griswold, Fort La Jolla. You'll always get one of us. You will always get attention. You'll have a care plan in place so that we know exactly what you need. The caregiver knows exactly what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's talking to each other and on board. We're in touch with family members. It's a deeper level of care. Even if it isn't healthcare, it's still more involved than if you just got your friend's sister, cousin.
Yeah. And I imagine the challenge there is your friend's sister's cousin gets sick, wants to take vacation. There's no backup, right? So that would be
We
a
get those
challenge. I would imagine you have backup if somebody can't come out.
100%. 100%. And we've been called in time for that exact reason. My normal caregiver is going, moving back home or going to be gone for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it is definitely less predictable when you're not working with an agency. If we have hours booked, we will be there and on time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What else can you tell us? So what's another interesting something about home care and how that kind of works for and helps people and I don't know, just give
Yeah.
us your thoughts.
So, I've done all sides of the senior living
And that's what made
world.
me really want you as a guest, just because you have done all sides of it. So go ahead
Yeah.
and yeah. I don't,
So I've done placement where I help families find the right boarding care or retirement community. I have done working in a community itself, in almost every position there is. And now I'm working doing home care. And what I really understand is that, especially this group of boomers, they want to stay home and age in place.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
we're finding that too. Yeah.
where previous generations, especially the greatest generation, they understood at some point that they weren't going to have enough care and were probably going to need to move to a home. Right? Don't put me in a home. Don't put me in a home. But because of the planning and the knowledge that the boomers have, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are really trying to find ways to age in place. And so, because I love helping seniors get exactly what they need, and being the one that is there during some of the hardest last decisions, big giant decisions that they're going to have to
Yeah.
make. um this is an opportunity for me to really make sure that their lives are full and that they're aging in place, and um that the end of life comes exactly how they pictured
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important as someone who's gone through the system,
it.
uh,
Yeah.
with parents, it's a very challenging time of life. So I think even
even to bring somebody in quite before you need them might even be just a good way to kind of ease into the whole having somebody there to help you. That's really, it's their job. They're getting paid to do it. It's not like family where you feel like you're a burden to them. You
Right.
actually have somebody, this is what they do for a living, and making you happy is their sole goal and purpose. So
yes. And I bring the caregiver to meet the client before we sign, so that they can tell me if they like their personality or not, if they jive with them, if they feel comfortable with them in their house. There's a lot of things that go into letting somebody come in and help you.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust involved in that. I would imagine that's probably the hardest thing as we age is, you have a stranger coming into the house that nobody knows, and how do you trust them? You have family heirlooms, you got jewelry, you got money, whatever it is you have, you got to, you can't just let anybody into your home, especially when you're, like you say, somebody in their 90s that may have lost a step or two in the aging process. Now they're not quite as alert as maybe they should be, or they sleep a little more, and you got to have complete trust in these people. So,
and that is one of the reasons why I always stress the fact that we are insured and bonded, and so are all of our caregivers. The background checks, the criminal histories, all of that, so that we know that we trust bringing them in.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, and do you have anything else you want to add? Because I know we could talk about this for hours, but
yeah, a conversation for another day, though, is when our loved ones get to dementia and Alzheimer's, when they're no longer able to make decisions for themselves, the decision for home care versus a community becomes even more important, and how to make your money last, for as long as
I'll tell you what, will you commit to it right now to let me book you again so you can come on and talk about that?
I would love to. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we tell our audience how to get a hold of you should they want a further conversation, and then we'll let you go.
All right, fantastic. So I'm Johanna. You will usually probably get me. My phone number is 858-346-0569. Company is called Griswold Home Care for La Jolla. And easy enough, it's my name, Johanna, Johanna, my last name, Gach, Gach, at griswoldcare.com. Or you can just go to Griswold Home Care, and you can find us through the main website too.
And you say Griswold Home Care of La Jolla. It doesn't mean you only serve La Jolla, correct?
No, actually, we do have a specific territory in our office, but it's a national company. National company.
So anybody who wants to, they may not get you, but they're going to get somebody in the Griswold family and go from there. Okay, sounds good. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you. You committed now, so we're going to talk to you again about about a lot of other things. So thank you very much.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Boomers, Bucks, and Bling. We hope we've managed to mix a little enlightenment along with fun. If you enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss out. And if you got a moment, drop us a review. It helps spread the word and keeps us motivated to continue. Got burning questions? Hot topics you want us to dive into? Let us know on our website or social media. Until next time, Carl Spateri here to remind you to tackle retirement with a big smile and a whole lot of energy.
The content of this podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, legal, or professional advice. You should not rely solely on the information presented here to make any decisions. We recommend seeking the guidance of a qualified professional for any specific situation. Arc Latex Financial Services, LLC, NMLS number 2143, its hosts and guests cannot be held liable for any losses, damages, or other negative consequences arising from your use of the information presented in this podcast. For license information, visit www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing opportunity.